The last time that Jesus had interaction with his disciples, he was asking them for prayer in the Garden of Gethsemane as he looked ahead to the harrowing events that were about to unfold. And then when he's arrested, everyone except Peter and John flee for their lives and go home. And whereas they deserve to be destroyed for their lack of faith in the past few days, Jesus offers them peace and proof. Jesus walks through walls. Welcome to Bible Study Hub. I'm Ann Wiggins. Let's go back to John chapter 20, where we are currently in our study. We'll be doing verses 19 to 20 today of John 20, and I'll be reading from the Legacy Standard Bible as always. So here we go. John 20, 19 to 20 says this. So while it was evening on that day, the first day of the week, and while the doors were shut where the disciples were for fear of the Jews, Jesus came and stood in their midst and said to them, "Peace be with you." And when he had said this, he showed them both his hands and his side. The disciples then rejoiced when they saw the Lord. So yesterday we read about Mary Magdalene going inside the tomb, being greeted by angels, and then seeing Jesus outside the tomb with her own eyes. Presumably, this took place in the morning, as dawn is when the women went to the tomb. That means by now it's evening, and the disciples have had most of a day to reconvene. We were told a couple of chapters ago that when Jesus was arrested, most of the disciples fled and they just simply went home. Someone had apparently rounded everybody up except Thomas, which we'll find out. We don't know where Thomas was, but he wasn't there. So we have now 10 disciples convened. Judas is not there. Thomas is not there at that moment. And they're in this locked room. So do you ever wonder, what were they doing in there? What made them leave home and lock themselves together in a room? Well, obviously, the Bible doesn't tell us, but I think that we can put some puzzle pieces together to figure this out. Like, what were they likely doing in there? The women had told them that Jesus was not in the tomb. And then we had read Peter and John ran to the tomb to see for themselves. And John wants us to know that he was faster and beat Peter to the tomb, which is kind of funny. They saw the grave cloths folded up lying there, but they didn't see the Lord. And there were no angels at the tomb at that point either, just an empty tomb and some folded up grave cloths. So I picture Peter and John looking at each other and saying, "Oh my goodness, we need to gather up the troops, let them know what happened and figure out what to do next." So likely these two went door to door telling each disciple what they had just discovered. And one by one, they meet in this location, wherever this was that they had settled on. And even at this point, they're still terrified of the Jews. The word in the Bible that is shut in the English, in the Greek, is more like barricaded. This door wasn't just closed, it was locked. It was probably barricaded with an actual physical barricade. They did this because, as the Bible just told us, they were terrified. What were they afraid of at this point? Well, maybe they were afraid that they were still in danger of being crucified themselves as followers of Jesus. But likely, they were also terrified that somebody would peg them as grave robbers and accuse them of moving the stone and stealing Jesus's body, which, by the way, was the exact accusation that was leveled at them, as we read in Matthew's gospel account. At this point in time, anybody who broke a seal and they had set the stone with a wax seal, if you did that, if you broke the seal and you weren't worthy to do it, that was a death penalty. No questions asked. So you can understand that now that they realize the seal is busted, the whole stone was tossed aside. This was a really heavy, enormous rock. Can't really miss that. Somebody is going to be in big trouble for this. So here in this moment, in their fear, with zero faith, really, Jesus walks through the wall and just appears. The Prince of Peace himself. The last time that Jesus had interaction with his disciples, He was asking them for prayer in the Garden of Gethsemane as he looked ahead to the harrowing events that were about to unfold. The disciples, rather than support their rabbi and pray for him, they just keep falling asleep multiple times. And then when he's arrested, everyone except Peter and John flee for their lives and go home. And then Peter denies him 3 times. So you would think that Jesus appearing to them in bodily form inside a locked, barricaded room would send terror down their spines. What on earth was he going to say? What might he do to them, these weak, spineless guys? And what are the first words out of Jesus's mouth? Peace be with you. He offers them peace. This is grace. This is mercy. I mean, this is our God. And I love that Jesus shows these men the nail prints in his hands and the scourge from the sword in his side. He offers them irrefutable proof that he is exactly who he says he is. And whereas they deserve to be destroyed for their lack of faith in the past few days, Jesus offers them peace and proof. This is the very heart of God toward us sinners. When we deserve death and hell, which every single one of us do, God offers us peace through the payment on the cross from Jesus, and then proof on so many levels. I don't have time to get into all the proofs of the reality of the resurrection, but many a scholar has set out to disprove it once and for all, and then in the end come to the humbling reality that it actually did happen, and they come to faith in Christ. So if this is something that you're struggling with, please do the research, take the time. Consider how 11 men who were utterly terrified and not expecting their Messiah to rise from the dead, all of them go on to become martyrs for him. Did they all decide to die for what they knew was a lie? And if it weren't true, then why not just produce a body? The religious leaders try to spin it, they try to cover it up, they lie about it, but even they never claim that the resurrection didn't happen. It really did. It was true. The body of Jesus was missing from the grave and was appearing now to his disciples, and then as we read, will appear to hundreds of others over the course of the next few weeks. Well, that'll wrap up Bible Study Hub for today. Thank you so much for being with me. Our videos go live at 6 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, right here on YouTube and Facebook. It's a great way to get your day started, focusing in on the Lord and on his word. Makes for a better day. So thanks for being with me, and Lord willing, I'll see you back here tomorrow, 6 a.m. for more Bible Study Hub.